What is up, everyone? You're very welcome along to tonight's Anfield Agenda News Roundup. Couple of stories caught my eye today. One of them being around Christopher Nkunku and the other one being around Jurgen Klopp having a conversation with Darwin Núñez. So, as always, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section. Drop a like on the video, and as you can see, we finally did it. We hit 150,000 subscribers. It's only because of your amazing support, so thank you consistently for getting behind us, for watching, for commenting, for sharing, everything that you've done to put us in the position that we're in. We're only here because of your support, so again, thank you very much for that. Right, look, let's start off with what we need to do and why Christopher Nkunku has anything to do with Liverpool Football Club. Well, quite frankly, he doesn't. But what I'm saying here is that once before we did a deal for Naby Keita, I'm sure you remember it, Chelsea are after doing something similar here for Christopher Nkunku. The news broke last week that Chelsea had done a medical with Christopher Nkunku in the latter part of the summer transfer window, just in case a deal was able to be done. Well, he signed a contract extension with Leipzig, and a lot of people started to think, well, maybe that was the end of it. But the details are always the important point to this, and Christopher Nkunku's deal with Leipzig had a €60 million release clause. Now, fast forward to today, where the story starts to break that Chelsea have already come to an agreement with Leipzig for Christopher Nkunku that will see him join, I was going to say Thomas Tuchel's team, but no, of course, it's Graham Potter's team at the end of the current season. Now, what does that mean? How did they get it done? And how does this have any effect on Liverpool? Well, what they've done is, rather than pay the €60 million release clause that is in his contract that anybody could have triggered, Chelsea have done what Liverpool done with Keita. They've went to the club and they've said, we're going to pay above and beyond because we want this guy. Tell us the number. And you know what? They're going to get their man. And why does this got anything to do with Liverpool, I hear you ask? Well, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? There's a certain midfielder, a certain gentleman that Liverpool have been long linked with, somebody who I've told you many times wants to come and play for the club. But the stumbling block here is going to be the price that Borussia Dortmund want, and of course the competition that Liverpool will face for Bellingham's signature. So what I'm saying here today is Liverpool, and I can't believe I'm uttering these words, but need to take a leaf out of Chelsea's book or a leaf out of other clubs' book and just go and get it done. Pay what it takes, no excuses, because there is no plan B. There is nobody else out there that can replicate what Jude Bellingham would be able to bring to Liverpool's midfield. Now, some people will of course feel like I'm being reactionary here, and look, as a football fan, yes, reactionary content is sometimes what we make, but Jude Bellingham is the solution to our midfield problem. And if you don't think we have a midfield problem, well, probably best fast forward and not watching this video, because you're not going to like what you're going to hear. So look, we have Jordan Henderson, we've got Thiago Alcantara, we've got James Milner, we've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, we've got Naby Keita, we've got many other young players coming through like Fabio Carvalho, we've got Harvey Elliott coming through, we've got Tyler Morton, Stefan Bajcetic, as well as Fabinho, many other great players at the club. But one thing that I think we need to do is to bring somebody in here who gives us a little bit something different. Now, Jordan Henderson, for me, for the longest time, was a hugely underappreciated player at the football club. But even with my red-tinted goggles on, I have to admit that Jordan Henderson's influence in the starting 11 in this team, in my opinion, is starting to wane. And that's why we come to the importance of Liverpool signing Jude Bellingham. You can look at this and you can say to yourself, hang on a minute here, Craig. Liverpool won't pay what it takes. FSG won't see value in that. But my argument here is that there is tremendous value in it. Let's look at an example. Let's look at Kylian Mbappe. If anybody signed Mbappe, and most likely if he does leave PSG, it'll be Real Madrid, you're going to get somebody who at his tender age, what is he now, 23 years of age, 24 years of age, if he's even that, he will be able to play for 4 or 5 years and still move on for an exorbitant transfer fee. And the same applies to Liverpool. I don't know if Jude Bellingham ever harbours any interest or want to go and play for Real Madrid, but what I can say with certainty is that if Liverpool signed him next summer, he'd be around 20 years of age at that point. He could stay at the club for 6 or 7 years and still only be entering his prime as a midfielder. So if you're looking at value from FSG's perspective, it's there. If you're looking at one expenditure that will carry you through the next 5, 6, 7 years, yes, there will of course have to be negotiations on increased wages and stuff as his career at Liverpool develops, but they need to take a leaf out of the book of the likes of Chelsea and other clubs and just get it done. If we are serious about wanting to be continuously challenging and up there at the top of world football, we need to have the players to do so. And the biggest test for me of Jurgen Klopp's reign at Liverpool comes right now. He's built a great first team. We've enjoyed the nights, we've enjoyed the comebacks, we've enjoyed enjoyed the trophies. We've enjoyed many epic encounters under Jurgen Klopp's leadership of Liverpool Football Club. But now we move to a time where we're starting to see that these players can keep delivering, whether it be fatigue, whether it be, I don't know, mental energy or whatever, whether it's just be not being able to respond to the manager in the same way that they once were. This is the big test now. This is the acid test for Jurgen Klopp. He has got to go out there and build his second team. Our scouting system is fantastic. Our coaches are fantastic. But the only qualms I've ever had has been around FSG's willingness to actually go out there and start acting like a big club. We can't afford any hiccups. If we haven't learned the lessons from our centre-back situation or our start to this campaign when everybody knew we needed some fresh legs in midfield, hopefully this will be the wake-up call that FSG need, because I tell you what, we are in for a fight this season to get ourselves to Champions League place, let alone to be competing for the likes of the Champions League or the domestic trophies again. We need to make sure that this is sorted. They've put all their eggs in the Bellingham basket. No matter what is said publicly, this is the truth. They put their eggs in that basket. Liverpool have been working on this for quite a long time. If you ask anybody who's been involved in any big deals, and look, I don't know anybody, but I'm just talking about stories that I've read and interviews from people who have been involved in them, one common thread in all of these is that players are buttered up a very long time before the transfer takes place. And there's a couple of things that have come up over the past couple of weeks that have worried me. Some signs where you've seen the likes of Milner and Van Dijk arguing. Now you see Fabinho ignoring the advice of Jurgen Klopp and kind of snubbing his nose up on the sideline. These aren't great traits for me, and it kind of makes me feel that Jurgen Klopp, as much as he's trusted these boys, it is now time to start being ruthless and moving some of these guys on. So look, a couple of other bits and pieces as well. I just don't want to continuously rant on about this, but you got to give credit to the likes of Chelsea for going out there and getting that deal done, and we need to do similar. But couple of more things here. Jurgen Klopp today had a conversation, or at least today it was spoken about, that he had a conversation with Darwin Núñez and basically just reaffirmed that he still has belief in him and that he needs to bide his time and be patient and that his opportunities will come. I disagree a little bit in that I think he needs to be starting right now. Kloppo did say that the reason we didn't see him play in the last game was because he felt a little bit of tightness in his hamstring after his exploits for Uruguay in the international break, and that the medical team said 15 to 20 minutes was the most that he could play. So if we take that at face value, we hope and maybe expect to see him start tomorrow against Rangers in what is another must-win game, because we can't afford to. We've already perhaps, I don't want to say shit the bed in the Premier League, but we've certainly left ourselves a lot of work to do. Whereas the Champions League, 1 win, 1 loss, 2 big games coming up. If we can get 6 points on the board tomorrow and then another win away at Rangers, we're almost through to the qualification to the next round, and it's all good. But right now, I'm nervous because I don't know what Liverpool to expect tomorrow. And I guess Jurgen Klopp probably doesn't know who he can actually trust to go out there and give a response. Because that's one thing Jurgen Klopp has spoken about a lot over the last couple of weeks. It is a response. He wants a response from these players. And as of yet, he hasn't got it this season. We've had moments, we've had patches, but whomever you want to use as your scapegoat, and I've had, believe it or not, people saying that I've been too nice to Mohamed Salah, whereas last month I had people calling me basically a racist because I was calling out Mohamed Salah for some poor performances. And look, just goes to show, we all see performances in a different way. We all have our own players that we feel aren't pulling their weight, whether it's Trent, whether it's Hendo, whether it's Van Dijk, whomever your own player is. But ultimately, we also all want the same thing, and that is this Liverpool group to be successful, and we want Jurgen Klopp in charge. So for me, next season, it's going to be a big one. This next season, I mean, the upcoming season, the one we're currently involved in, where Jurgen Klopp has to start getting the build of that second team right and starting to maybe progress players like Elliott and Carvalho more than he may have wanted to, and putting them in more difficult situations that perhaps he believes they're ready for. Because for me, I always like to look to the future. I like to look to players who, I'd rather players make mistakes that have a future at the football club. I'd rather players learn on the job that have a future at the club and not keep relying on the likes of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain or James Milner or Jordan Henderson, of these players who have represented us so well but are at the tail ends of their Liverpool career. That's my take on it anyway. As always, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section. Drop a like on the video, and of course you can join us tomorrow from 7 p.m. over on our Twitch channel, link in the description, where we'll be doing a watch along at the game against Rangers. Paddy and Chris will then be live for an hour-long match reaction afterwards. As you can probably tell and hear, I'm sounding a lot better, feeling a lot better after my illness, so really appreciate you guys' support. And again, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.